I don't know what it is. I don't seem to win boring races.
Oh, Sergio Perez careering across the track.
AlphaTauri's surprise move to have Daniel Ricciardo on the team before the Hungarian race was the biggest threat to the fans of Yuki Tsunoda and Sergio Perez. We all know it was to put pressure on Yuki Tsunoda and check if he is Red Bull worthy or not, and to possibly replace Sergio Perez. After finishing 15th in Hungarian Grand Prix, things went even worse for Yuki. But his slaying performance at the Belgian Grand Prix was the start of a real battle. Who's going to win Red Bull? Is Marko's decision to sign Daniel Ricciardo not going to be much beneficial? Let's discuss this all in today's video. We all know Nick de Vries was replaced by Daniel Ricciardo at AlphaTauri with immediate effect before the 2023 Hungarian Grand Prix. The decision to replace de Vries was a surprise to many, as he had only been in the seat for 10 races. However, the Dutchman had failed to score a point in that time, and Red Bull was clearly not happy with his performance. Ricciardo, on the other hand, is a proven race winner with 8 Grand Prix victories to his name, so he was a hope to help AlphaTauri in improving their results in the second half of the season. Ricciardo mentioned that he was 95% comfortable after his initial day of practice on a Friday during his comeback weekend. He did well in a qualifying session, managing to get into the Q2, even though his car is seen as one of the slower ones on the track. He secured the 13th spot on the grid, which was 4 places ahead of his teammate Yuki Tsunoda, who didn't make it past the first round Q1 of qualifying. Ricciardo said, "But I think we still put on a strong showing. I felt good in the car, and that was something that was certainly a question mark. Not doing it for 8 months, especially around here, is a tough track, so other than lap 1, turn 1 a good day." Ricciardo was not involved in the crash at the start of the race, but he was still placed toward the back of the grid because of the damage to his car. He made a pit stop earlier than most of the other drivers, which gave him the opportunity to put on fresher tires. These fresher tires allowed him to drive faster and overtake several of the other drivers. So finishing in P13 may not seem like a great result, but it was a good performance considering that he was in a car that he was not familiar with. He had only had 1 simulator session in the AT02 prior to the race, so he was still getting used to the car. He only had 1 chance to practice driving the AT02 before the Hungarian Grand Prix. This is a very short amount of time to get used to a new car, so it is impressive that he was able to finish in P13. But before the Hungarian Grand Prix, Yuki made it clear that he is not much afraid of Ricciardo. It's a challenge for which he is ready. In Budapest, Yuki said, "It'll be clear soon, but either driver will be slower and the slower guy won't make it to Red Bull. That's easy. The faster guy has more chance to go to Red Bull. It's how it works in Formula 1. That's it." He added, "It's a challenge always. In the end, it doesn't make much difference. Daniel or Nick, whatever. Anyway, I have to do the same thing I was doing to Nick. You need to beat your teammate. That's the most important thing. Daniel is not an easy driver to beat, but at the same time, I'll do what I did in the last couple of races, and it's clear the faster guy will stay or go up, that's it." But after finishing in 15th place in Hungary while Ricciardo was 13th, Yuki was a little worried that he might lose Red Bull. Were not his concerns real? Yuki Tsunoda's reputation in Formula 1 has been getting better as he's been getting more comfortable. The AlphaTauri's team's performance hasn't been great since Yuki joined, but it's not really his fault. Despite this, he's been getting better results. In Belgium, he performed really well and showed that he can handle pressure, just like Daniel Ricciardo had done to him the previous week. This impressive performance got a lot of attention from fans and the media, especially since his teammate didn't perform well at all. It's amazing how things can change in just a week. Yuki faced a tough situation last week, but his strong performance in Spa was like a powerful response. "I think Daniel gives more information in more places that I have to improve." Yuki said, "Even in the dry, it was very difficult for me. I was always close to the cars that were really fast on the straight and I just couldn't break away from the back of the field. Then it seemed like the others were able to squeeze more out of their tires, so I'm eager to get back behind the wheel and see where we can get better." During the Belgian Grand Prix, Ricciardo was expected to easily qualify for Q2, but a small mistake at Radilon got him a penalty, removing his lap time. Yuki performed well in a single lap session, almost making it to the final qualifying round, starting 11th. He reached 6th place during the race, but finished 10th due to tire strategies, earning his 3rd point this season. Ricciardo had an unfortunate day, finishing in P16 with only 2 drivers classified as finishing behind him. The Honey Badger now has a span of 4 weeks to reflect on his subpar performance in Spa. Evidently, the seasoned Red Bull driver will be contemplating the capabilities of the car he's been assigned to pilot until the end of the season. Everything had gone smoothly the previous week in Hungary, and the indications seemed to be clear for the Honda-sponsored Tsunoda, as Ted Kravitz detailed in his segment while fans drifted away from the Budapest circuit. Poor Yuki. He's battled gamely with his car all year and now he's being shown which way to go by Daniel Ricciardo. Kravitz communicated to the camera, 17 seconds behind Daniel Ricciardo. I know he didn't get the rubber, the green with his first stop, but that's a bit of an out for poor Yuki, so Ricciardo is clearly the team leader. He's clearly the team leader now. I'm sorry, Yuki, but he is. You can understand that he's a 7 or 8-time Grand Prix winner. If I've learned anything from Yuki Tsunoda's radio messages, it's not to provoke him. Yuki wasn't pleased with his performance or how the media talked about his race in Hungary. Daniel Ricciardo faced a reality check after an eventful race in Spa, realizing his AlphaTauri car's struggle on the track. Despite being bravely noticed during the weekend, what concerned Ricciardo more was that his teammate Yuki Tsunoda earned his 3rd point this year, finishing 10th even though his car isn't great. Ricciardo ended over 23 seconds behind Yuki, coinciding with Ted Kravitz's statement about Ricciardo leading the AlphaTauri team. Ricciardo admits in the summer break he is going to practice more and come back with better results for Dutch Grand Prix on August 27th. After the race, Ricciardo and Yuki had different opinions about their cars. Yuki thought his AlphaTauri car was doing really well, like flying. But Ricciardo wasn't so sure about how well the junior Red Bull car performed. Ricciardo said, "It felt like we never got the peak out of the tires. Now we couldn't generate enough grip in the second sector when we were in clear air. Later in the race, I felt we were more competitive, but in traffic it was definitely hard. The reality is, these were my first dry laps in this car on this track, and I don't know this car that well yet, so I still felt there was a little missing. But we'll figure it out. We can accept he didn't know the car that well, and we can understand that he might not be able to dial in the setup of this car yet, but he's gonna have to come back after the summer break swinging because his teammate gave one of his best performances of the season in response to being beaten a week prior." And you know how Ted Kravitz summarized this? What happened to Daniel Ricciardo today? Well, I'll do that quickly because he's not the story today. Yuki Tsunoda is the story at AlphaTauri today. P10, 1 point. A brilliant result for Yuki Tsunoda. Finished just behind Lance Stroll, so he could have been P9. Yuki made it happen for him. I'm so happy for him because he made it happen after a few dodgy races, he said. Adding to Ricciardo's challenges, Sergio Perez secured 2nd place, marking his 33rd career podium. This moved the Mexican ahead of Ricciardo, who has 32 podiums. Notably, there have been 2 podium finishes since Daniel's return. Perez is attentively observing the situation rather than succumbing to the pressure posed by Ricciardo's presence. Jacko is embracing the challenge and showing improvement. Who do you think is going to win Red Bull? And what's the next point of this war? Let us know in the comments and subscribe to the channel to learn more about the Formula One world.